The day began like any other, sunny, peaceful, and quiet. The neighborhood basked in the gentle warmth of the morning sun, with only the distant hum of a lawnmower and the occasional bark of a dog breaking the silence. Danielle Panabaker was at home, reading a script, enjoying the perfect Los Angeles weather. Sunlight streamed through her window, casting golden patterns on the floor as she lost herself in the story. Suddenly, the sky darkened, heavy clouds rolled in, turning the afternoon gray and purple. The light in the room shifted, and a chill crept into the air, making Danielle glance up from her pages. The birds fell silent. The air grew tense, as if the world was holding its breath. Even the leaves on the trees seemed to pause, waiting for what was to come. Danielle sensed something big was coming. The stillness felt unnatural, and a prickle of anticipation ran down her spine. She checked her phone. Severe weather alerts flashed across the screen. The warnings were urgent, advising everyone to prepare for a sudden, powerful storm. Calmly, she closed windows, gathered flashlights and fresh batteries, and filled bottles with water. She moved with quiet efficiency, her mind running through a mental checklist of everything she might need. She texted her elderly neighbor, Mrs. Gable, "Big storm coming, need anything?" Danielle always looked out for those around her, especially in moments like this. Danielle made sure her house was ready. She double-checked the doors, secured loose items outside, and took a deep breath, feeling the weight of responsibility. The first raindrops tapped the window, then more followed. The gentle patter quickly grew louder, signaling the storm's arrival. The storm was about to begin. Wind whipped through the trees and thunder rumbled in the distance, echoing through the neighborhood. Danielle stood by the window, prepared for whatever came next. She watched the world outside transform, her heart steady and her mind focused. The world outside was changing fast. In just minutes, the familiar street was unrecognizable, swallowed by wind and rain. The calm was officially over. The storm had arrived, and Danielle was ready to face whatever it would bring. Rain hammered the roof, each drop sounding like a drumbeat in the darkness, echoing through the quiet house. The downpour was so intense it drowned out every other sound. Cars, voices, even the distant hum of the city faded away. Thunder cracked overhead, shaking the house with its force. This was no ordinary storm, but a tempest that demanded attention. Danielle watched from her window as the street outside transformed into a rushing river, water swirling around floating debris and abandoned bikes. Lightning flashed again and again, turning night into day for a split second, painting the world in stark, electric white. Her phone buzzed, a text from Mrs. Gable next door. "All good, just spooked. Cat's hiding under the bed." Danielle quickly replied, "Stay safe. Let me know if you need me. I'm right here." The wind howled, rattling the windows so hard it seemed they might shatter at any moment. The lights flickered, on, off, casting strange shadows that danced across the walls. Danielle hurried to unplug her electronics, hoping to protect them from sudden surges as thunder rumbled closer. She lit candles, their warm glow flickering and making the room feel a little safer, a small comfort against the chaos outside. But outside, the storm raged on, wild and relentless, battering the neighborhood without mercy. The power threatened to go out at any moment, the house growing darker with every flicker. Danielle braced herself, heart pounding, knowing the worst of the storm was yet to come. The storm's fury was just getting started, each gust and crash louder than the last. The wind screamed louder, shaking the house to its core, as Danielle waited for the sky to finally calm. The lights finally gave out, plunging the house into total darkness. Only lightning lit the room, each flash revealing chaos outside. Danielle stayed calm, switching on her flashlight and checking for leaks. She scanned the news on her phone. Power outages, trees down, warnings everywhere. Suddenly, a sharp crack echoed nearby. Danielle rushed to the window, flashlight in hand. Across the street, a massive oak branch had snapped and crashed onto the power lines. Sparks flew in the rain, then darkness returned. The storm was causing real danger now. Danielle's heart pounded. Nature was in control. She hoped everyone was safe. The night felt endless. But Danielle was ready for whatever came next. Amid the storm's chaos, Danielle heard a faint cry for help. The sound was almost drowned out by the relentless downpour and the howling wind, but it was unmistakable. It was coming from Mrs. Gable's house just across the street. The lights flickered, casting eerie shadows. Danielle's instincts kicked in. She couldn't ignore her neighbor. She knew she had to act quickly. She pulled on her raincoat and boots, grabbed her flashlight, and braced herself. The storm was fierce, but her resolve was fiercer. The news said to stay inside, but someone needed her. She couldn't just sit back and do nothing. She checked the street. Fallen power lines sparked far from her path. It was dangerous, but she was determined. Danielle took a deep breath and stepped into the storm. The cold rain hit her like a wall. The wind fought her every step, rain stinging her face. She could barely see, but she pressed on. She aimed her flashlight at Mrs. Gable's house, following the desperate cries. Each step felt like a battle. The world outside was chaos, but Danielle pressed on. She had to reach Mrs. Gable. Helping was the only choice. She couldn't live with herself if she didn't try. She found a safe path, heart pounding. Every second counted. The adventure was no longer inside. It was out there, in the storm. It was out here, in the wild, raging night. Danielle knew she had to be brave. The storm hit Danielle with full force as she crossed the yard. Rain poured down, blurring her vision. Wind shoved her back. She moved carefully, flashlight guiding her through debris and mud. A trash can lid flew past. Danger was everywhere. Mrs. Gable's cries kept her going. Danielle slogged through the flooded lawn, boots sinking in mud. She finally reached the porch, soaked and shivering. She banged on the door, shouting, "Mrs. Gable, it's Danielle!" No answer, just the storm's roar. She tried the doorknob, locked. She banged again, harder. At last, a faint click. The door creaked open. Danielle rushed inside, out of the storm. Inside, darkness and cold greeted Danielle. Her flashlight found Mrs. Gable on the floor, trapped by a fallen bookshelf. "Danielle, thank goodness," Mrs. Gable whispered, her leg pinned. Danielle assessed the situation, too heavy to lift alone. She grabbed a thick encyclopedia and a sturdy piece of wood, creating a lever. With effort, she pried the shelf up just enough. "Now, slide your leg out," Danielle urged. Mrs. Gable pulled free, wincing but safe. Danielle helped her sit up, relief flooding the room. The first challenge was over. Outside, the storm still raged. The power was out, and the night was far from over. But inside, they had won their first victory. Danielle knew she'd face whatever came next, together.